Alright. Alright, hello again, YouTube.
When we're going to do something?
Yeah, come to the microphone, please, sir. Step right up. There we go. Thank you.
Mr. Hellman,
Roosevelt Hotel is not. It's on the table. Leave it at that. I'm certainly not going to forecast when we're going to do an operation on McCain.
thank you, Mr. Hellman. You're the immigration expert here. The president is now floating this idea of sending American prisoners to a prison in El Salvador. Do you believe that that would be legal?
You know, someone mentioned that to me this morning. I haven't yet talked to the president. I just got back in town yesterday, so I haven't had that conversation, what that conversation was about, where it come from. So I'm not going to comment on that until I speak to the president directly.
But you know, legal, or I mean, you have obviously worked in immigration under President Obama, now under President Trump. Do you believe that it would be legal to send American?
I don't know. Again, I didn't see it. I didn't hear it. I mentioned this morning. I don't know the context of the question was. I don't know the context of what response or what he meant by response. I'd be opining on something I really don't have the information on. I'll get briefed on it and I'll respond to you later about it, but I'm just unfamiliar with it.
Mr. Hellman, does the administration expect that those migrants that have been sent to that prison in El Salvador will remain there?
You mean the terrorists that were removed?
Will they remain in that prison in El Salvador for the rest of their lives?
This administration will obey court orders, unlike the last administration. But if you ask me if I'm in favor of returning terrorists to the United States that are gang members that have murdered and raped young women in this country, no, I'm not in favor of that at all.
Mr. Hellman, deadline for...
Border apprehension.
They always use this tagline, they murder and rape women line. They eat babies all the time.
It's by 95% since last March. Can you describe maybe some of the success behind these numbers?
Because I worked for the greatest president of my lifetime, Donald Trump. Trump 45 is successful, unprecedented. And we're even doing better this time. President Trump, I give him all the credit because he put executive actions in place day one. He re-implemented the policies that we proved were effective. Right now, as we speak today, because of President Trump, the men and women of ICE and the men and women of the Border Patrol who stand on that line every day, today we have the most secure border in the history of this nation. No one can argue that. The data's clear on that. I started in 1984. I've never seen the numbers this low. So again, the most secure border in the history of this nation, President Trump was able to do that in a matter of weeks, something that Biden administration didn't do in 4 years. Either wouldn't or couldn't, but we proved it didn't need legislation, didn't need all this other stuff that the last administration talked about. We needed a strong president who took America first and cared about American safety and securing that border. Securing the border at this level means we have a lot stronger national security because of the border.
Mr. Hellman, the deadline...
There are laws on the books that make it a criminal offense to shield or harbor illegal immigrants, like the sanctuary state city leaders have been doing. Do you think they should be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law and possibly put in prison?
Absolutely. And hold tight on that one. Because it's coming. It's coming. I've been clear on that since day one. The sanctuary city can sit by and watch their communities get ravaged by illegal aliens. They can watch young women get raped and murdered. Trump administration is not going to stand for that. So look, they can stand by and watch. And the Trump administration will secure their communities. The Trump administration will drive down illegal and crime in this country. If they don't do it, we'll do it for them. But they can't. They can sit aside and watch, but they can't cross that line. When they cross the line of harboring concealment, that's a felony. And we got Pam Bondi now who won't hesitate to take action. When they can't impede in our enforcement efforts to make this country safe again. That's a felony. So President Trump's got his cabinet in place.
You know, I always like hearing a sanctuary city get lectured on how they have to do what they're told. Even if it's something annoying like these immigration shit, just because they're just being a bit rude about it. Though I can't deny illegal immigration is annoying. Like I just don't like how they're just saying everyone's murdering and raping women. Yeah, that can't be the main crime. It's you know what? I want to Google it. What's a statistic for women being murdered by immigrants? No, that's okay. NBR says immigrants are 60% less likely. Only 13,000? And they're acting like this is the main crime. Wait. No evidence that 4,000 people are killed yearly by immigrants. Alright, what do they say officially? Well, that's a lot already. And it's been going up as they've gotten harder and harder on it. Okay, where's the murder? You got homicide and manslaughter. Which this is what they claim happens all the time. And there is 29 for last year and 9 so far this year. Yeah, I don't know. And it's a nationwide conviction. A lot of drugs, an insane amount of illegal entry, barely any weapons. Well, admit these are a lot of crimes. There's a lot of fist fights, at least. A lot of robberies. But there's just a lack of murder. And sexual offenses are a little high. I don't know. Feels like the mainstream crime besides illegal entry, which is just an obvious one, is driving under the influence, and whatever you want to say other is, which is basically every other crime in existence. And illegal drugs, which is very annoying. I should have noticed that. So we got violence, driving under the influence, and assault. That's annoying. Alright. Anyway. Oh no, based on that, I don't know. I just don't like this tagline. They should say they're drug dealers and gangsters. Because they're violent drug dealers.
Now, we got a strong AG. We got a strong Secretary of Homeland Security. We got a great group here. We got, Steve Miller. One of the most brilliant men I ever worked with when it comes to border security and interior enforcement. You're going to see a lot of things happen next few months that people should expect. Many don't, but watch what comes in their future.
Mr. Holman, you got Democrats that are headed down to El Salvador. What's your message to them?
We're not going to change anything. We remove terrorists from this country. They're where they should be, and then we're going to knock it off. What y'all be doing, y'all be in sanctuary cities in this country, taking action.
Bro didn't even pay attention. Did they even ask about terrorists? I need a repeat.
We're not going to change anything.
To them.
In their future.
Mr. Holman, you got Democrats that are headed down to El Salvador. What's your message to them?
We're not going to change anything. We remove terrorists from this country. They're where they should.
Alright, let's see if he gets back to the topic after this rant, because I'm pretty sure the El Salvador thing was them trying to figure out what they're going to do about these immigrants that were legally removed, and some of them weren't criminals. So let's see where his rant goes, folks.
Should be, and they weren't going to knock it off. What you ought to be doing, you ought to be in sanctuary cities in this country, taking action against the Maryland father, the Maryland illegal alien, not a father. Maryland illegal alien was arrested in the country illegally, arrested for murder, and released to the public, and it took ICE to go find them. If the Democrats lost some time in Boston, and in Los Angeles, and Portland, and Maryland, and go to these sanctuary cities. I don't care what party you're affiliated with, Republican, Democrat, Independent, we all should want secure communities. We all should want public safety to be number one on their agenda. I can't believe there's any Democrat politician who does not want public safety threats out of the community. Their number one responsibility is protection of the communities. But they'd rather go to El Salvador than fix the problem we just talked about in Maryland, fix the problem of Boston, fix the problem that just happened in Washington State. 2 illegal aliens tortured a woman, left her for dead by drilling on her to give her her money, access to ATM stuff, but they're going to go to El Salvador. Makes zero sense, and that just shows how out of touch of reality the Democratic Party is.
Mr. Holman.
Alright. Not gonna lie, folks, I need a slight repeat. I kind of zoned out because his rant was really boring.
I can't believe there's any Democrat politician who does not want public safety threats out of the community. Their number one responsibility is protection of the communities. But they'd rather go to El Salvador than fix the problem we just talked about in Maryland.
I have mixed feelings on this whole rant for 2 reasons. One, I'm always like for focusing on America first before anything else. But I'm like a bit sure some of those people deported were like legal citizens, and that's why the Democrats are trying to fix this shit. Let me confirm. Immigrants deported recently were any legal citizens. Ah, shit. Excuse me. Okay, we're gonna have to be a bit unspecific to get the most recent stuff. Oh wait, not immigrants, El Salvador. Alright, as always, this fucking searching shit's a little hard. Okay, wait, hold up, we got something. Okay, so these were migrants, lacked 90% lacked criminal record. Okay, so big gang. Gotcha. I think I remember that. Alright, look. I'm not gonna pretend it's not debatable these guys weren't criminals. Just because they don't have a criminal record, they could have just never been caught. I honestly just want to know if any of them were citizens. Actually, I'm gonna look it up. Give me citizen. It doesn't explain it. It doesn't even mention it. I should probably take the hint that these guys weren't official U.S. citizens. They were just migrants that were I don't know, maybe on temp visas or something, but they weren't official citizens yet. Nah, well, it is what it is. Alright, I'm pretty much know this rant. Okay. Let's see how we feel about tourism.
We want to make sure we send a message to our.
And also from Governor Newsom, well, he is rolling out the red carpet for our neighbors to the north. Watch.
We want to make sure we send a message to our Canadian friends up north to come to a state where 2 million Canadians visited last year, to come visit a state where there's something for everybody. Visit California.
Okay, the governor's invitation comes as the U.S. is tracking a big drop in tourism from around the world. Take a look at this. Travel from Canada and Mexico was down double digits in March. We're also seeing fewer visitors from Western Europe, Central and South Asia, South America, I should say, Asia, Africa, even Australia, really all over the world. We are seeing this big drop. On the flip side, though, more Americans are thinking about moving abroad. That's according to a recent Harris poll. 42% have already considered or plan to consider and relocate outside the U.S. The top expat destination, you guessed it.
Do you want to move to Canada? Because I do. And I am.
I just moved to Toronto, Canada from Raleigh, North Carolina.
My Canadian immigration process starts in about a week.
We can finally say it. We can finally talk about it. We are moving to Canada.
Yes, Canada. So joining me now is Dr. Hisham Jaddoud, professor of hospitality and tourism at USC.
Bro, it is crazy as shit to go from U.S. citizen to Canadian right now. That shit is gonna go. There's gonna be so much passive progression bullshit in the air. With how rude America's being to Canada right now. Like, I can't imagine going to a foreign country right now as an American. I feel like they would have bare minimum bitch at me so much if they knew I was American. Just bring up politics, like, you fucking throw tariffs at my country. And I'm just gonna be like, bro, it's not my fault. I'm not a president. You think I wanted this trade deal? All our YouTubers panicked too, you know. They were like, yo, it's a bad idea. It's a bad idea. Abort, abort. Well, no, nobody said those words, but everyone was like, this was bad. And everyone was very thankful when Trump aborted it all except on China, which I have mixed feelings on that. Because I don't know, I've just never really understood why we still hate China now, besides they're communists. And I don't know, China has a lot of information control. That's really the only thing that pisses me off about China, but I suppose their social credit system's kind of dumb too. I don't know, I don't feel too invested in China. I'm more of a Russia hater than a China hater. Though they're both annoying, I will admit. But, be honest, our country has its annoying stuff too, but they are... I should say, I'm not going to fit in either of those countries at all. And I barely fit in America, as is.
See, Professor, welcome. Thank you. Let's start with the tourism trickle-down effect here. How much do states like California rely on international travelers? And to that point, what do you make of the governor's move here to try to lure Canadians?
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here. Well, tourism in California is a big business, especially for places like LA and Palm Springs. For example, Palm Springs, California receives over 300,000 Canadian tourists every year, which is a huge number and it may have a lot of impact. California as a whole has forecasted to generate $6 billion less in revenues in 2025 compared to 2024. And the big reason behind this deficit, obviously, is the 9% drop in international tourists, mainly from Canada, compared to last year. And California has seen also a 12% drop in Canadian tourists, specifically to the state. And this could have big implications because it does not apply to California only, it applies to different states as well. But specifically to Gavin Newsom's message, I believe that Canadian Canadians were quick to respond to the governor's plea by highlighting that the risk of crossing the borders due to the current federal government policies is becoming very risky, and Canadians prefer to stay home and support the Canadian and local tourism. In my view, this is more of emotional. It used to be an emotionally charged issue. Now it's becoming more a safety concern. Canadians crossing the border don't feel safe anymore. All the goodwill from U.S. tourism professionals trying to recover the Canadian tourism may not work because, as I said, this is becoming more of a Canadian safety and security concern than emotional concern. But when Canadian tourists are concerned about their security, it's going to be hard to convince them to come back. So that's some of the concerns we have seen lately in the market, and that impacts different sectors of the industry.
You know, besides COVID, putting that aside, sort of an outlier, have we ever seen a global drop in tourism like this before?
In my view, I would say no, we haven't. The last government actions, I would say, have impacted tourism in California heavily. Canadians have already started diverting their plans, as you mentioned earlier. In hotels, for example, summer 2025 bookings from Canada to the U.S. Have declined by over 70% in the last year. And the airline have also responded to the decreased demand by cutting over 300,000 seats on Canada's U.S. trips between March and August 2025. This is a huge impact. And we see also from Air Canada that was highlighted last week, Air Canada scaled back its flights from Vancouver, reducing trips to California, Miami, Houston, due to the decline in Canadian interest in the U.S. market. We have not seen a decline like this before, and this is going to impact a lot of sectors in the industry, as I mentioned, anything from resorts to hotels to casinos to airlines to travel agencies and what have you. And for example, just an example from last period, we have seen last break.
Man, I'm not even gonna finish this video because basically, you know what, let me check to see if they. Yeah, we have not seen a decline like this before, probably because politics is insane in the world right now. Everything's kind of crazy with Trump in charge again. He's going wild. Yeah, I can see clearly why shit ain't going well. Alright, what we got next? Oh, shit. I'm not sure I'm ready for that one yet. Alright. Let's watch this one. I'm not really a Fox News guy, but I want to see what Jesse Waters' bitch is about. I want to see how this Democrat disgraced himself today. Especially since there's a quotation around it. It's not two quotations though, so I'm thinking it's not sarcastic, but I swear I see quotations around anything, even if it's just single mark, and I'm just sitting here like, is it supposed to be sarcastic? Because I'm pretty sure it's not even an official written word which one of these is fucking sarcastic. Like, I'm pretty sure it's just something we imply with memes and shit.
There's been an attempted prison break. A Democrat senator arrived at a mega prison in El Salvador ready to free a Maryland dad. But we're just finding out he's not really a Maryland dad. Homeland Security says he's a verified member of MS-13, and he's been accused of beating his wife twice. Maryland Senator Chris Van Hollen was up at the crack of dawn to rescue this guy from a Central American prison.
I'm here at the airport. I'm about to board my flight for...
All right, real quick before we go back, quick little insult. Bro looks like a fucking 70s biker or some shit with that pompadour and beard. Dude on the left, funny face from fucking Jesse Waters. He looks like a stoner, and fucking. And I don't know. I don't have any other jokes. Let's move on.
Central American prison.
I'm here at the airport. I'm about to board my flight for San Salvador. The goal of this mission is to let the Trump administration, to let the government of El Salvador know that we are going to keep fighting to bring Albrego Garcia home. until he returns to his family. I just landed at the airport in San Salvador a little while ago. I'm now en route into the city, looking forward to meeting with the team from the American Embassy. The goal of my visit is to talk to people here about the release of Kilmar Abrego Garcia. I also hope to have the chance to meet with him.
Once Van Hollen caravanned down to the mega prison, he made an announcement. He's not leaving until he frees MS-13.
Why is El Salvador continuing to hold him in CCOT? Why not release Abrego Garcia today? I'm not asking him to smuggle Mr. Abrego Garcia into the United States. I'm simply asking him to open the door of CCOT and let this innocent man walk out.
The distinguished senator from Maryland flew 3,000 miles on a rescue mission to free an illegal alien gangbanger from a mega prison and bring him home to Maryland, even though his home's in El Salvador. And the president of El Salvador said, would you like a tour of the mega prison instead?
I'm not interested at this moment.
Yo, I just want to say, if that's true, it's kind of fucking funny. Like, I know it's the brutish shit to say, because it's like kind of cruel to be like, his new home's a prison. And also, low-key, I'm kind of wondering what we're going to do with these guys after the fact. Is they're Venezuelan. Let me Google. Is El Salvador and Venezuela, so at least they are getting released back to their home country. Ah, shit. It's a country itself. And they have people from another country in their prison? Alright, real talk. What are they going to do after their prison sentences? Or are they just slaves for the rest of their life? Or prisoners? Ah, well. It's a bit too early in the game to be asking questions like that anyway. Oh. You know, I am going to look. I am going to look up Venezuelan gang El Salvador prison sentences. Let's start with that. Actually, you know what? Fuck it. We're gonna leave a comment. Hey, genuine question. Does anybody know to the Venezuelans after they serve their sentence? Because El Salvador is a foreign country to them, and my first thought is they're just gonna dump them in a foreign country they've been a prisoner in for years, and for years hypothetically in the future. And that seems kind of dumb. Legit answer, please. I'm confused. Alright.
Moment in taking a tour of CCOT, I just want to meet with Mr. Abrego Garcia. He said he was not able to make that happen. I asked him if I came back next week whether I'd be able to see Mr. Abrego Garcia. He said he couldn't promise that either. So I asked him if I could get on the phone, either video phone or just a phone, and talk to Mr. Abrego Garcia. He said he could not arrange that.
The president of El Salvador just told a U.S. senator, don't waste my time, gringo. Van Hollen's flying to foreign countries to call illegal aliens, but he never called the mom whose daughter was killed by one in his own state.
Okay, I'm just going to give Jesse Waters credit. He seems kind of witty right now. I'm just going to say that. He seems kind of fucking witty, and he's funny. I'll give him some credit.
All this over a fake Maryland dad. But what about the real Maryland mom, Rachel Morin, who was raped and murdered by an illegal in the same gang? Rachel Morin's mom was at today's White House press briefing. Watch.
To have a senator from Maryland who didn't even acknowledge or barely acknowledged my daughter and the brutal death that she endured, leaving her 5 children without a mother and now a grandbaby without a grandmother, so that he can use my taxpayer money to fly to El Salvador to bring back someone that's not even an American citizen. Why does that person have more right?
I will admit this just became kind of dumb with that in mind, because we did get confirmed at least this guy is not a fucking U.S. citizen, which is annoying. As I always am at least a little annoyed when we're doing dumb shit, and he literally just said he wants to bring up what she said, that they're trying to bring him back to a country that they're not even a citizen in. If I was gonna be nice, I'd be like, bro, we'll take you back to your home country because you've been fucking up, and the best we're gonna do is get you out of that prison and go home. But shit, I don't even want to do that if he actually did the crime. Like, shit, that's the only thing that's up for debate, because, like, didn't they... I feel like they skipped some of the trials on this. They just kind of rushed them out. Let me confirm. El Salvador... Wait, no. Venezuelan migrants. Wait, no. Courts, trials. Okay, so like 10 days ago. Really? That's what happened? The Supreme Court got involved? Oh yeah, they used an old rule to change it without a hearing. Yeah, I thought that's why everyone was pissed off. Should have known drama was going to happen because of that. Alright, we can get the basics from the fact they succeeded. We know they got him deported, so who gives a shit about the fucking dumb legal battle? I want to know about the rules. Aliens Act is one of the laws enacted as part of the Alien and Seditious Act in 1798 under President John Adams and the Federalist controlled Congress. That's a fun fact. Apparently they were anticipating a war with France. The law states that when the U.S. is at war, facing invasion or predatory incursion by another nation. Okay, that's concerning. I don't like what that implies, because that means these fuckers might have been a bit more official, or they're just fucking twisting the rules and saying, oh, it's a gang, so it counts as a foreign country, which, I swear to God, if this gang's even big enough to be close enough of a problem to be ruled as a gang, I'm gonna lose my mind. I swear to God, if I hear country-level gang exists, I'm going to lose my mind. Alright, but anyway. Okay, they can detain and deport citizens of the enemy nations. Okay, that's it. But this is just some meticulous shit about how laws increased and stuff. I don't care about that. Okay. Damn. They're even deporting the kids. Little teenagers. Which I can't deny, that makes a bit of sense. Teenagers can be a bit dangerous, unfortunately, if given a gun. I mean, shit, y'all know Jack from Metal Gear? He was a child soldier. He was a crazy. He has that crazy child soldier personality come out. He's like, I'm Jack the Killer. Alright, but that's beside the point. Okay, yeah, let's look at these fun facts. Alright. During the War of 1812, World War I and World War II, okay. So basically all the cool wars. I didn't know we were in the War of 1812. Is that the Revolutionary War? I have that line memorized, but I keep thinking that's a British thing. Yeah, it's a Revolutionary War. Or wait, is it different? No, it's a second war. What the fuck? Man, now I want to watch that. I didn't know we had a second war with Britain. We might take a break after this video to watch some history. Just have some fun.
Than I do, or my daughter, or my grandchildren. I don't understand this.
Van Hollen never spoke to Rachel Morin's mom, his own constituent. But Trump has, and he did again today in the Oval.
Beautiful.
A dear friend.
She's a beautiful woman. She's been through hell. She's been through hell, right?
Oh, yes.
Your daughter's looking down proud of you. You know that. Just keep it going.
I know.
Keep it going.
It's like you said.
Stay with that one.
It's like you said, we have a purpose.
It's a purpose. Yeah.
Yes, it is.
She's proud of you.
Van Hollen disgraced himself today, but Democrats are lining up to do the same thing, booking trips to El Salvador so fast they're crashing Expedia.com. Cory Booker wants to go there too. Maybe Spartacus can talk his way into the prison. One House Democrat told Axios, quote, I just came from a roundtable with 2 Dem activist groups, and all they wanted to talk about was El Salvador. One smart Democrat said this, Trump's setting a trap for us, and like usual, we're falling for it. Today we learn more about Democrats' innocent Maryland dad. He crossed the border illegally through the Texas desert, migrated to Maryland, got pulled over 4 times there, and was never deported because it's a sanctuary state. And he skipped every traffic court hearing. Garcia in 2019 was arrested in a gang sweep. He was detained in connection to a murder investigation and was picked up in a frequent gang area. According to the police report, the detective picked him up with 3 active members of MS-13, one of them ranking members. Garcia tossed marijuana out of his pocket when the detective approached, and when he was frisked, Garcia had $1,000 in cash. He was wearing a Chicago Bulls hat, which the detective says means they're members in good standing with MS-13. He was also wearing a hoodie with a known gang insignia. Officers contacted a reliable informant who confirmed that Garcia was an active member of MS-13 with the Westerns clique. The source said he had the rank of Chiqueo with the moniker of Chele. Now, how do we know he just didn't randomly run into these guys? Quote, officers know MS-13 gang members are only allowed to hang around with other members or prospects for the gang. Is this your average Maryland father?
There is no Maryland father. Let me reiterate. Kilmar Abrego Garcia is an illegal alien, MS-13 gang member, and foreign terrorist who was deported back to his home country. And when Kilmar Abrego Garcia was originally arrested, he was wearing a sweatshirt with rolls of money covering the ears, mouth, and eyes of presidents on various currency denominations. This is a known MS-13 gang symbol of hear no evil, speak no evil, see no evil. Nothing will change the fact that Abrego Garcia will never be a Maryland father. He will never live in the United States of America again.
When he was brought in by the police, he admitted he was in the country illegally. He was interrogated about human drug smuggling. At first, he said he wasn't afraid of being sent home, and then he changed the story and said he was terrified. A Democrat judge held him, denied him bond because they said he was a flight risk and a danger to the community, and ruled that he was deportable. While he was in jail, he married the American woman he'd gotten pregnant and then appealed for asylum. On appeal, another Democrat judge upheld that he was a verified member of MS-13. But since his lawyer argued that his life was in danger from a rival gang if he was deported to El Salvador, the judge said he could be deported anywhere in the world except for El Salvador, then released him. But Biden failed to deport him, which is too bad for Garcia's wife because of what happened next. Garcia's wife in 2020 accused him of domestic violence, and a temporary protective order was issued by the judge. But the wife never followed up and appeared at the hearing. The next year in 20...
All right. I'm not going to lie. This fucking shit's pissing me off because I don't like gays. Like shit. And I remember MS-13 is pretty dangerous. I don't want to get into them because they piss me off, but let's just go to the bare minimum. I agree with Jesse Waters on this one. If it's all legit. Because I swear to God, sometimes we hear from these politicians or on a daily show half the time, or just, I don't know, or maybe even a YouTuber, I'll just be like, there was proof it's not real. And I don't know, we'll see what links they give. If it's a reputable fucking news source, I might believe it. Or maybe if it's a good politician, but I don't know. I didn't even recognize any of these politicians enough beside Holman. And Homan's just because I memorized his name because it's one letter away from human. And I made dumb Homan jokes about how Homan is the original human. He is Homan. And just stuff like that. That's the only reason I memorized his name. I swear to God. I haven't even seen that man's picture before now. And now I know what he looks like. Alright, so we're going to take a break from the news. We're going to watch a history video on the War of 1812 and just have a good time. You know, I've been liking memes with these little circles lately. Let's check this out.
How do we get to this? We already fought the British 30 years ago. I swear if you say it's basically Napoleon's fault. How the It's the start of the 19th century, and the USA was a relatively new and weak nation, but it was getting crazy rich, trading with both the British and France. There was only one problem though. They couldn't stop fighting each other. And with this treaty, we finally end hostilities. Don't say it. Do not say I declare war. To be honest, I was gonna say it too. Napoleon was unable to crush the Haitian Revolution, and he was convinced that faraway colonies would not be able to be held in the long run, especially from a neutral Spain, a neutral USA, and an aggressive UK. He saw the writing on the wall, and sold the Louisiana Territory to fund a nearly certain war with the British, which was declared just 18 days later. Gentlemen, we're at...
You know, I'm vaguely remembering this now. I just, I don't think I heard who, I don't remember ever hearing about how America got involved. I just, I feel like we're about to hear about the fall of Napoleon Bonaparte by the end of this, because I feel like that might have been his last war. Is it? We'll find out.
War again. Aw man, come on. Cut us some slack. Psst. Hey, I bet you guys were thinking about deserting. What are we, James? Actually, yeah, that's probably easier to explain. With the supply of British sailors decreasing and the demand for them increasing, the UK began the forcible conscription of deserted British sailors through a practice known as impressment. Even though the Royal Navy targeted deserted British sailors, they mistakenly impressed some Americans too. The American public was outraged at the theft of their citizens, and saw it as a challenge to their still fresh independence. Despite this controversy, British-American relations sort of thrived. as Jefferson's desire to annex Florida continued to draw him closer to the UK, as Florida was Spanish, and Spain had just declared war on the British, and France was their ally. Jefferson hoped to take Florida in the case of an all-out war. However, after the battles of Trafalgar and Austerlitz, the Napoleonic Wars stalemated, as the UK affirmed its control of the seas and Napoleon secured his dominance of the continent. Both powers knew it was time for economic warfare. The UK issued the Ordering Council of 1806, declaring all ports from Brest to the Elbe River to be under a state of blockade. Napoleon answered with the Berlin Decree, which declared the British Isles in a state of blockade and forbade all trade or correspondence with the United Kingdom. The UK retaliated with the Ordering Council of 1807, prohibiting French trade with the United Kingdom, its allies, or neutral countries, so pretty much anyone, and instructed the Royal Navy to blockade French and Allied ports. Napoleon responded with the Milan Decree, which enforced the already existing Berlin Decree. You're telling me we're not allowed to trade with either one of them? Yeah, and more than 700 American ships have been seized by either France or the UK. French frigates are burning American grain ships, heading for the UK, and are treating our sailors as prisoners of war. Oh, and the British HMS Leopard has attacked the USS Chesapeake just off the coast of Virginia. They were looking to impress some deserted British sailors, but in the process, injured many of our men and damaged our frigate. You know what this country really needs? Better relations with neutral countries? War? The complete destruction of our economy. Many public voices called for war, but Jefferson chose a policy of economic coercion and issued the Embargo Act in 1807, which closed all US ports to all exports and restricted imports from the UK. For the British, their relationship with the States was simply not as important as a life or death struggle of the Napoleonic Wars, and the UK preferred to risk war with the United States than to risk defeat by Napoleon. Relations between both countries now really started to sour, as the United Kingdom's control of the seas made British restrictions far more concerning to the United States. The Orders in Council and the impressment were seen as a reinstatement of the colonial system, and the loss of their recently acquired independence. We're broke. Our economy is in shambles. Besides, remember the Federalist Party, Mr. President? They called for a national bank and better relations with the UK, but became a minority after they were defeated by your Democratic Republican Party in the year 1800. However, they kept their stronghold in New England due to their proximity to the Canadian border. Your Embargo Act has promoted smuggling across the border and has fueled their resurgence. What should we do? I'm lifting.
Am I really, like, this is kind of implying that fucking Democrats turn a blind eye to smuggling so they can make money, which is annoying.
All embargoes on American shipping. Finally, except for those bound for British or French ports. It goes without saying that the Non-Intercourse Act didn't do much to revive the American economy. It did have one long-term positive impact though. The unfulfilled domestic demand for manufactured goods stimulated the growth of the Industrial Revolution in the United States, but for now, they were even more broke. Okay, so I know we're in a bit of an awkward position, but I've got an idea. We'll trade with whomever stops intercepting our ships first, and we'll embargo the other, unless they also agree to stop intercepting American ships. I agree. Well, I guess we've got no other choice. Wait a minute. Resume trading with him? You messed up for good this time, Madison. Classic Napoleonic move. But tensions were about to rise.
Are you telling me this whole war might have just started and the whole joke of how it began, and they just named him, they said he's manipulative because it's just like, yes, I agreed to be a nice person and just stop destroying your ships, and now Britain hates you to destroy you, and I am a manipulative mastermind. When I'm willing to bet what might have happened is Napoleon was just like, yeah, sure, I'll stop. I needed someone to trade with. And then out of nowhere a war happened. He's like, well, I'm going to take advantage of that. Let's team up, bro. But we'll see what the video says. Because I am not a true historian. I am just like you, viewer. I just watch videos on YouTube.
A lot more. The USS President spotted what it thought to be the HMS Guerrier and decided to pursue. However, the Guerrier was in fact the sloop of war Little Belt, a much smaller ship. Now, both British and American accounts disagree on what happened next, but allegedly, both captains claimed they demanded the other identify his ship, with no answer, and both claimed the other shot first. The Little Belt stood no chance, and after 15 minutes, the President ordered a ceasefire. Little Belt was badly damaged in the encounter, and both governments argued about it for months. Hold up, who's this guy? Meet Tecumseh, the Shawnee leader of a confederacy of various Native American tribes who opposed American expansionism, and his brother, Tenskwatawa, the religious leader of said confederation. And this is William Henry Harrison, the governor of the Indiana Territory. And as you may have guessed, they weren't exactly friends. The United States had acquired this big chunk of land from the British after the Revolutionary War, and they wanted to settle in it. There was just one slight problem. Native Americans were already living there, so Harrison marched with an army of about 1,000 men to attack Prophetstown, the headquarters of the Confederation. In the battle that ensued, the Native Americans evacuated the town during the night, and Harrison and his men burned the settlement.
In the middle of being broke, they start a war with the natives. Admittedly, kind of a slam dunk, unfortunately, when we know about their capabilities, but still kind of annoying.
Settlement to the ground. Well, time to pack it up, fellas. We're going home. Wait a minute. You've gotta be kidding me. To war! Meet the Warhawks. They were essentially politicians who favored pro-war policies. You know what? You guys might be right. The economic sanctions have all failed. That's right, Madison. Let's go to war with the British. But what about France? I'm glad you asked. France is an ocean away. So are the British. No, they are not. No, they are not. The British Navy had 600 cruisers in commission and several smaller vessels, whilst the US Navy consisted of 8 frigates and 14 smaller vessels. The US knew they were powerless at sea, but Canada, on the other hand, was a tangible British target on land. Democratic-Republican member of Congress John Randolph argued that an invasion had nothing to do with maritime rights and accused those favoring offensive military action against Canada of being expansionists. In Congress, Peter B. Porter and John A. Harper labored for a pledge that the United States would absorb Canada once it had been conquered, but it didn't.
It is really fucking funny to hear this concept come up again in history. After fucking hearing Trump recently be like, we're gonna annex Canada. Yeah, and here we are with the War of 1812, showing me that this is not the first time we've had that idea. Very interesting.
Go through. Secretary of State James Monroe said that Canada would be invaded not as an object of the war, but as a means to bring it to a satisfactory conclusion. Most of the Madison administration worried that by annexing Canada, they would sacrifice the leverage over British maritime policies that would be afforded by occupying it, and the primary goal remained the repeal of the maritime restrictions. Canada was of no use if they couldn't sail the Atlantic freely. But what does UK Prime Minister Spencer Perceval think about this? And he's dead. Just as British pro-war sentiment was starting to decrease, the House of Representatives voted in favor of the first declaration of war, which was agreed on by the Senate. All of the 39 Federalists in Congress voted against the war. I hereby announce that the Order in Council will be suspended shortly in an attempt to reduce tensions with the United States. My lords, war has been averted. It hadn't. As luck would have it, Lord Liverpool repealed the Orders in Council just 5 days after President Madison signed the measure into law. Wait, but they still have time to negotiate a deal, right? No. You see, mail in the early 19th century took as little as 3 weeks to cross the Atlantic, so both sides were unaware of each other's intentions, and the US wasted no time. Due to their numerical disadvantage, the American strategy at sea was to cause disruption through hit-and-run tactics by engaging Royal Navy vessels only under favorable conditions. The same day Lord Liverpool repealed the Orders in Council, the USS President engaged the British frigate Belvidera, but it managed to escape to take word of the outbreak of war to Halifax. In response, the HMS Colibri was dispatched from Halifax to New York under a flag of truce. Guys, don't worry. I'm sure all of this has been a great misunderstanding. Here you go. A copy of the Declaration of War. Goodbye. We should probably leave. When war was declared, the US were not in shape to stand up against the British Empire. They had a small army, and they were poorly trained and undisciplined. Randolph opposed the war. He was described as a witty, quick-thinking orator, so all of his lines are going to be actual real-life quotes from him. Go to war, without money, without men, without a navy. The people will not believe it. Despite minimal preparations for an invasion and being unfit for war, confidence was abundant among US leaders, as they expected the Canadian population to welcome their armies as liberators. They thought they preferred an American government to a British one. It seems this is to be a holiday campaign. Canada is to conquer herself. I know you're being sarcastic, Randolph, but yeah, that's right. The acquisition of Canada this year, as far as the neighborhood of Quebec, will be a mere matter of marching. You will be emancipated from tyranny and oppression. Whoa! William Hull crossed into Canada from Detroit and took the town of Sandwich, but a British patrol out of Fort Malden engaged him and forced him to fall back. Now, the main British strategy was a defensive stance in Canada and a naval blockade, as war with Napoleon was using most of the UK's resources, so they couldn't send men or the whole navy to battle against the US, so they relied on militia units and Native American allies to support the British Army regulars already stationed there. When war was declared, the majority of New England refused to recognize it or contribute militia to the war effort, which explains why most of the fighting took place here and not here. This was a problem for the Americans, as they heavily relied on militia units to fight the war. The Connecticut General Assembly went so far as to reject the notion that cooperation was required by the Constitution, declaring that Connecticut was a free, sovereign, and independent state. Watch out! Canadian, British, and Indigenous forces are sneakily approaching Fort Mackinac. They fired one cannon shot, and Lieutenant Porter Hanks surrendered without a fight. He wasn't aware that war had been declared. Just 2 days later, at Sackett's Harbor, the captain of USS Oneida saw 5 British vessels sailing up to the village. The American brig tried to escape, but after being fired at by the British fleet, it returned to port. Once the British were in range, this time it was the Americans who had a chance to end the battle with just one shot. They aimed their cannon from the shore battery and lit the fuse. It fell too short. The British laughter could be heard from the village. A 2-hour bombardment from both sides followed, with no clear winner in sight, until a well-placed shot struck the stern of the Royal George. The British retreated after this. As for the Americans, well, they started singing Yankee Doodle. Meanwhile, London received some shocking news. Have you guys seen this? What's wrong? There's an unclaimed rock in the middle of the Pacific. No way! Gentlemen, please, what are we gonna do about the declaration of war? We'll just wait for them to receive the repeal of the Orders in Council, James. Now let's get to that rock. Huh, it seems like the British have repealed the Orders in Council. Wait a minute. The repeal can be repealed in May 1813? If French or American conduct so requires? They're trying to trick us. That's right, Mr. President. The sword, once drawn, full justice must be done. But despite producing some epic quotes, the war wasn't going as planned for now. William Hull retreated back to Fort Detroit after his supply line from Ohio got interrupted and his line of communications was threatened by British control of Lake Erie. He ordered the evacuation of Fort Dearborn, but the garrison got attacked by Potawatomi men and resulted in a complete victory for the Native Americans. Meanwhile, Tecumseh and Major General Isaac Brock advanced to Fort Detroit. Brock had been preparing the army and militia a while back for a war that he considered inevitable. His determination and courage granted him the admiration of Tecumseh, and both complemented each other constantly. They both knew Hull was deathly afraid of Native Americans, so they tricked him into thinking that the indigenous forces were much greater in size by marching them in front of the fort many times. Brock also sent Hull a demand for surrender, claiming that the Native Americans will be beyond control the moment the contest commences. Gee, that was fast. Ironically, things were going much better for the Americans.
Did they really act like that over the natives? Man, I swear to God, what we know about the natives with hindsight after what fucking happened in fucking the Aztec times. Fucking bro, why didn't they just get a bunch of plate mail and guns? I know at least some of those fuckers are using bows and arrows. Maybe, then again, they were looking like they were trained and shit, so maybe I'm being dumb. You know, we're going to take a break from this and go back to doing the stuff that I can actually fucking make a YouTube video for and not feel bad, which is we're going to watch the news. Okay. I suppose seeing Donald Trump for real is the most interesting one.
Thank you very much, everybody. And I've been briefed on the Florida State University, Tallahassee, active shooting. I guess it's an active shooter. Fully briefed as to where we are right now. It's a shame. It's a horrible thing. Horrible that things like this take place. And we'll have more to say about it later. In the meantime, it's an honor to have the Prime Minister of Italy with us, Prime Minister Meloni, who's doing a fantastic job. I would say that she has taken Europe by storm and highly respected. Everybody loves her and respects her, and I can't say that about many people. And she's become a friend, and we really have a great relationship between Italy and ourselves. And we talked about trade. We talked about many, many things during our luncheon, and she'll be saying a few words, but she's a very special person, and it's nice to have you with us. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Thank you for your warm welcome. Thank you for this occasion, which is aimed to strengthen our relation, our friendship that comes from very far. You know, today is April 17, and April 17 marks the anniversary of the agreement that allowed Cristoforo Colombo to make his trip. And I say to remember how ancient are our ties, but also to remind that we both share another fight, which is the fight against the woke and ADI ideology that would like to erase our history. And as I know that we share lots of things on tackling illegal migration, on fighting against synthetic drugs. You know, Italy has been one of the nations that made a plan against fentanyl, for example. But we have been talking about many bilateral topics and things that we can do together, about defense, about economic, about economy, about space, about energy. Italy will have to increase its LNG imports, and also nuclear that we are trying to develop. I think there can be ways to work together, and the Italian enterprises will invest, as they've been doing for many years, as you know, in the next years, I think around 10 billions. That shows how interconnected our economies are. And that's very important, Mr. President. It's not only about Italy, it's about the entire Europe. The exchange between us is a very big one. Investments, trade. It's a topic that we are discussing in this week. But at the end of the day, look, somebody calls me, I was saying it before, such a Western nationalism. I don't know if it is the right word, but I know that when I speak about West, mainly I don't speak about a geographical space. I speak about a civilization. And I want to make that civilization stronger. So I think even if we have some problems, okay, between the two shores of the Atlantic, it is the time that we try to sit down and find solutions. So I want to thank President Trump for having accepted an invitation to pay an official visit to Rome in the near future, and consider the possibility in that occasion to meet also with Europe. The goal for me is to make the West great again. Okay? And I think we can do it together.
We can.
We will keep on work on that. I'm going to close. I want to say only, I'm proud of sitting here as Prime Minister of an Italy that today has a very good situation despite the difficulties, a stable country, reliable country, 1 million more jobs in the last 2 years and a half.
Great.
Inflation is going down, so you forgive me if I promote a bit my country, but you're a businessman and you understand me. So migration flows going down 60%. So we are trying to do our best, but I think we can do it even better together. Also on Ukraine, I will close. Together we've been defending the freedom of Ukraine. Together we can build a just and lasting peace. We support your efforts, Donald.
Good.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. And I think we're doing well in that effort, but we want to get it done, and we'll see if we can. We want to save. On average, think of it, every week 2,500 people are being killed, mostly soldiers, Russian, Ukrainian soldiers. And if we can save those lives, that would be a very good thing. And so we'll see what we can do. And I think we're getting close, but we'll let you know very soon. And you've been very helpful. I appreciate it. Thank you. Any questions?
Mr. President, how much longer does Vladimir Putin have to respond to your ceasefire proposal before you put secondary tariffs or sanctions on Russia?
We'll see what that will be. We're going to be hearing from them this week, very shortly actually, and we'll see. But we want it to stop. We want the death and the killing to stop.
Yo, didn't expect to come into this fucking Trump video and hear something fucking based. Yeah, I like that. It'll be interesting to see Russia's response, though, if they don't like the tariffs, though, because they're in war mode right now. That's going to be really fucking annoying.
On Jerome Powell, you said that the termination of Jerome Powell cannot come fast enough. He says he won't leave, even if you ask him to.
Oh, he'll leave. If I ask him to, he'll be out of there. But I don't think he's doing the job. He's too late, always too late, a little slow, and I'm not happy with him. I let him know it, and if I want him out, he'll be out of there real fast. Believe me. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead, please. Question.
Are you trying to remove him, Mr. President?
Yeah, question.
Mr. President, when you hit Judge Mosberg in a case against your administration, so the Constitution does not tolerate willful disobedience of judicial order. Do you agree with that statement?
Well, you're going to have to speak to the lawyers. We have great lawyers. I can tell you this, we're doing a fantastic job of getting criminals out of this country who Biden allowed into the country. Hundreds of thousands of criminals, murderers and drug dealers. And I was elected because of the fact, I would say maybe that was the number one factor, a lot of reasons, the economy, a lot of things. But one of the primary reasons I was elected is because I said, I'm going to get the criminals that he allowed to come into our country so stupidly through open borders. I'm going to get them out. And I got a lot of votes, record-setting numbers of votes, as you know. We won everything. The popular vote, all 7 swing states, we won everything. And that's what the public wanted, and that's what I'm doing. But you'll have to speak to the lawyers because it's up to them.
Mr. President, what do you think of the proposal from France?
Say it.
What do you think of the proposal from France and UK of a peace mission in Ukraine with soldiers? And do you think that Italy should take part in it?
Well, I think Italy will have to make that determination, but peace missions are always good with me. I'm okay with peace missions. Yeah, please.
Mr. President, have you discussed what areas of cooperation and discussed?
Just want to say another nice line from Trump there about peace missions. Anyway, what do they say?
Yeah, please.
Mr. President, have you discussed what areas of cooperation and discussed with the Prime Minister vis-a-vis Italy and the United States and Europe and the United States? And on China?
We discussed it very briefly. No, we're doing very well with negotiations, I think, with all countries. And Scott could tell you a little bit, but we are doing very well. We have a lot of countries that want to make a deal. Frankly, they want to make deals more than I do. Go ahead, Scott. Would you say something first?
Yeah, we've got a process in place. We're working on the big 15 economies first. We had a fantastic meeting with Japan yesterday. I believe they've been called with the EU already. And then we have South Korea coming in next week. And I believe India is also talking. That's moving very quickly.
Go ahead.
Ukraine's President Zelensky has evidence that China is supplying weaponry or ammunition to Russia. Do you have any evidence on those lines? And also, he said we could see a minerals deal signed this week. Is that?
Well, we have a minerals deal, which I guess is going to be signed on Thursday, Scott, next Thursday, soon. And I assume they're going to live up to the deal, so we'll see. But we have a deal on that. No, I have no comment on that. I have no idea. That's his statement, not mine.
Mr. President, the Israeli attack on Iranian nuclear facilities. Can you comment on that? Is that accurate?
And they said the attack is what?
That you waved off an Israeli plan to attack
I wouldn't say waved off. I'm not in a rush to do it because I think that Iran has a chance to have a great country and to live happily without death. And I'd like to see that. That's my first option. If there's a second option, I think it would be very bad for Iran. And I think Iran is wanting to talk. I hope they're wanting to talk. It's going to be very good for them if they do. And I'd like to see Iran thrive in the future, do fantastically well. I know the Iranian people, they're incredible people. Always have been very smart, very energetic, very successful people. And I don't want to do anything that's going to hurt anybody. I really don't.
Well, that's really good to hear.
Iran can't have a nuclear weapon. It's, pretty simple. It's really simple. We're not looking to take their industry. We're not looking to take their land. All we're saying is you can't have a nuclear weapon. The deal that was made with Obama, that deal would have expired already. It was a terrible deal. It would have expired. And that gave them a clear path to a nuclear weapon. I wouldn't have accepted. That's why I terminated the deal. Number one, it was way too short. When countries are involved, you don't make short-term deals. These are countries with long lives. And I terminated that. And it was a great termination because it didn't allow us to do anything. Once it terminated, you know what the deal was. It was a terrible deal. Really, one of many terrible deals made by the U.S. But no, I'd like to see Iran thrive. And they can do that, I think, very easily, or they can do it the other way. The other way is
I do agree that a deal with something like this kind of seriousness, like a nuke, should be very long term, if not near permanent. I wouldn't even want a nuke button personally. Like, I fucking hate the idea of being one of the people that can cause a nuclear war. It's fucking ridiculous.
It's not going to be good for them. It's going to be really bad for them.
What do you make of the Nvidia CEO going to China and met with trade officials there?
Well, Jensen's an amazing guy. He's become a friend of mine, and I don't know, he's a person that's very proud of our country. He loves our country. I'm not worried about Jensen at all.
Mr. President, if we're holding you in contempt, will you take steps to return Kilmar Abrego Garcia to the United States and put him in front of a judge?
Well, I'm not involved in it. I'm going to respond by saying you'll have to speak to the lawyers, the DOJ. I've heard many things about him, and we'll have to find out what the truth is. But I will say this, we were inundated by millions of people, many millions of people during the Biden administration. They say 21 million. And a big percentage of those are criminals, serious criminals. I'm not saying just criminal because they came into the border illegally. I'm saying they're criminals at the highest level, murderers. Many of those people murdered more than one person, and they're on the loose. And I was elected to get rid of those criminals, to get them out of our country, or to put them away, but to get them out of our country. And I don't see how judges can take that authority away from a president. We've done an amazing job. Tom Homan, Kristi Noem, we have done an amazing job. Nobody can believe the job we've done. Far greater than what I said. I mean, I got elected on that, but we've done much better. We have right now 99% border. It's a 99%. Nobody thought that would even be, nobody's coming through our border practically. 2 weeks ago, we had 9 people come through, all for medical reasons. We allowed them. We brought them through because one had a heart attack, one had something else, all for medical reasons. We have a great border. We had a great border 4 years ago, but we have a border now that's even tighter, and we did that in a matter of weeks. And no, we have to. We need to get murderers and drug dealers and people that were in jail for horrible. They released jails, Georgia, from all over the world, and released them, not just South America, all over the world, the Congo and Africa. Many, many people come from the Congo. I don't know what that is, but they came from the Congo. And all over the world they came in opened their jails. Venezuela, practically all of their prisoners released into our country. We took them because we had an incompetent administration called the Biden administration. And to think what they've done to our country. And I was elected to straighten that out, and I'm doing that. But we have activist judges that don't want murderers to be sent out of our country. They don't want killers and drug dealers and drug lords and people from mental institutions. They want them to stay in our country, I guess. I don't know, maybe that's the liberal way, or as they call it nowadays, the progressive way. But I don't think it's the way that our country believes, and that's why I won in a landslide. Okay.
You did say that you were confident these deals will be done, but you also said that you're in no rush. Americans are seeing prices rise. They're seeing it on their bills. How long can they expect that pain to last?
So they've already seen it get much better, because if you were truthful, which you're not, I know you very well, you have gasoline that hit $1.98 yesterday in a couple of states. You have gasoline's way down. The price of oil has dropped substantially. The price of groceries are substantially down. The price of eggs. When I came in, they hit me with eggs. I just got there. I was here for 1 week, and they started screaming at me, eggs have gone through the roof. I said, I just got here. I was there for 7 days, and I hear that eggs have gone through the roof before I got there. And they were screaming at me, the press, the fake news, like you're fake. And the fake news is screaming at me like about eggs. I said, I've only been here, this is my 7th day. And they were right. They went up 87%, and you couldn't get them. They said, you won't have eggs for Easter, which is coming up. Happy Easter, everybody. You won't have eggs for Easter. And we did an unbelievable job, and now eggs are all over the place, and the price went down 92%. And our Commissioner of Agriculture, Brooke, has done.
All right, I might have to go to the store at some point to check this out, but that's true. That's pretty sweet. Pretty damn sweet.
Done a fantastic job. They really have done a fantastic job. So prices haven't gone up. The only thing that's gone up actually is interest rates, because we have a Federal Reserve Chairman that is playing politics.
I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna do something a bit weird because I'm just kind of rude to politics, I guess. We're gonna have like Donald Trump in the fucking background and all these new shit as I fucking do some game testing for a game. I like the game.
Somebody that I've never been very fond of, actually. But he's playing politics. Interest rates should be down now. They should be coming down. In Europe, as you know, they reduced them, I guess 7 times. It looks like they're going to reduce them again and again and again. But our guy wants to play cute. But interest rates are pretty much even. Maybe they went up just a slight bit, but that's the only thing. But that's because of the Federal Reserve, because they're not very smart people.
Do you regret nominating
Go ahead. Yes, sir, please. Go ahead, please.
Do you regret nominating him, Jerome Powell?
Look, in the first 4 years, we had the greatest economy in the history of our country. Stock market went up 88 points. I think he's terrible, but I can't complain because we had the most successful administration economically in the history of our country. I think we're going to do even better this time, because you will see that the numbers that we're taking in are astronomical. We're taking in tremendous amounts of money with the tariffs. We were treated very unfairly on trade, and countries are having a hard time getting used to the fact that they can't do that to us anymore, because we have a real president. We have a president that understands what it's all about. We had presidents that, in some cases, were smart, but they didn't understand business, or they didn't like business, or, it wasn't like a priority. And then you had like the last administration, the only thing they were good at was cheating in elections. That's about all they could do. They couldn't do anything. They were useless. They were incompetent. Worst administration in the history of our country. Worse than Jimmy Carter. Jimmy Carter died a happy man. You know why? Because he wasn't the worst president. Joe Biden was. So I think you're going to see some fantastic numbers when this all happens. It's happening now. I mean, everybody wants to make a deal, and if they don't want to.
I will admit, Joe Biden was pretty much the lamest president in my lifetime. But I don't know if he's the worst president to qualify for. He probably wasn't at Gerald Ford, though, who was just very, very minuscule on real accomplishments. And he was just kind of like just maintaining the status quo because he's fucking lame.
Make a deal, we'll make the deal for them. Because that's what's going to happen. We'll just say, this is what it is. But we want to listen to everybody, and I think I can say for Scott and the other people that are working on it that we're listening, and we're going to be very fair to people. But you know, we're the one that really sets the deal, and that's what we'll be doing. Okay. Yeah, go ahead, please. Please.
Question to our Prime Minister.
Oh, you have a great Prime Minister. You're so lucky. Yes.
In Italiano.
Oh, yes, that's right.
Okay.
I'm not sure they do agree.
Presidente Meloni, volevo sapere cosa pensava del fatto che il Presidente Trump ha considerato responsabile Zelensky della guerra in Ucraina e poi se avete parlato delle spese militari e qual è il limite massimo a cui ha detto che può arrivare l'Italia, le percentuali delle spese militari.
Non abbiamo parlato dei limiti massimi a cui può arrivare l'Italia, abbiamo parlato del fatto che l'Italia sta mantenendo i suoi impegni perché arriverà al prossimo vertice della NATO con il 2%.
Alright, they're just fucking speaking Italian. I don't even know what's going on.
Era già previsto, che è stato sottoscritto dai governi precedenti, perché siamo una nazione seria, ma non abbiamo parlato poi di quanto vada aumentata questa percentuale, anche se siamo ovviamente consapevoli che insomma, il tema della difesa sia un tema particolarmente importante di questo tempo. Per quello che riguarda la guerra in Ucraina, lei sa come la penso che ci sia chiaramente diciamo ci sia stata un'invasione e che l'invasore da quel punto di vista fosse Putin e la Russia, ma non è questo che diciamo oggi quello che rivela il fatto che insieme vogliamo lavorare, stiamo lavorando per cercare di arrivare in Ucraina a una pace che possa essere giusta e duratura. Penso che questi siano gli sforzi sui quali condividiamo il nostro lavoro, abbiamo condiviso anche oggi il nostro lavoro.
That sounded absolute. That was so beautiful. What the hell was that? What did she say, please? No, I mean, it sounded great. It was beautifully presented, but maybe I could hear what she said. Please, go ahead. Go ahead.
It was about asking.
Guys,
Hold it.
Have some respect, please.
Thank you. No, wait. I want to hear what she said. Go ahead.
Yeah, Prime Minister Meloni was asked what she thinks about the fact that President Trump holds Zelensky responsible for the war in Ukraine. And Prime Minister Meloni answered, well, actually, we have no, and also if you talked about the military spending, how and the raising of the military spending, and the first thing Prime Minister Meloni said is that no, actually, we didn't talk about the raise in military spending. Of course, Italy will keep its commitments with 2%, and then we will see, because we are absolutely aware of the fact that it is very important to
well, I will do
defense
that.
Is very
wait.
important.
I will do that. Important. They've been asking if we decided another percentage about the defense spendings, and I said NATO. Yes, NATO. And I said that Italy is reaching the 2% as it was already decided. We didn't speak about a specific other percentage, but we are aware of the fact that defense is important for the future, and we see what also the work that we are trying to do at the European level.
And I don't hold Zelensky responsible, but I'm exactly thrilled with the fact that that war started. That was a war that would have never started if I were president. You'd have millions of people living right now that are dead. you'd have cities that would be open and thriving, and they'd have their beautiful turrets. Those turrets are the most beautiful in the world, but they're not with us any longer. They're smashed to smithereens, laying on the ground in a million pieces, getting hit by rockets, bombs, and bullets. And so I'm not happy with him, and I'm not happy with anybody involved. I think it's a war. I know it's a war. It didn't happen for 4 years. It was never close to happening. It was never even a thought. And I spoke to President Putin about it a lot. It was the apple of his eye, but there's no way he would have ever gone in if I were president. Now I'm trying to get him to stop because, as you know, Russia's a lot bigger. It's a bigger military force. And if you're smart, you don't go involved and get involved in wars that you can blame the man that was sitting in this seat. Biden, he didn't know what the hell was going on, but I can guarantee you that, and everybody agrees to it, if I were president, that war would have never taken place. I'm not blaming him, but what I am saying is that I wouldn't say he's done the greatest job, okay? I'm not a big fan. I really am. I'm not a big fan. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Presidente Meloni, avete discusso di Cina e della possibilità che l'Europa poi orientarsi, diciamo, sulla Cina. Mr. President, are you sure about the definition of parasite of European? Would you say again that European parasite?
It's never said.
Would you say again that
European?
Have you said that Europeans are parasites?
Yeah.
Have you seen it?
No, I haven't said. I don't know.
He didn't say it.
I don't even know what you're talking about. Go ahead, please. Go ahead. No, wait. Next. Go.
Prime Minister Meloni just said we want to make Europe great again. We want to do it together.
Sure.
West, yeah.
Did you? I guess that's what she said. How are you going to do that? And are you looking to do it to counter China, who is really trying to gather influence against the United States with the help of this joint?
I hope that Europe is going to be great again. Europe is going through a lot of problems, and a lot of it's having to do with immigration. And I'm not a big fan of Europe and what they've done with immigration at all. And I think they got to get smart because Europe is being very badly hurt by what they've done with immigration. Now, I'll say this, that the Prime Minister has taken a very tough stand on immigration. And I commented to her before. I said, I wish more people would be like you having to do with that subject, but they're not. Europe is very important to me. Europe is very important to the world. I want Europe to do very well. I think they have to get a lot smarter on immigration.
But we are beginning doing it. You've all seen how the policies of the European Union in the last, let's say, 2.5 years have been changing. Okay, at the beginning we were talking only about how we were redistributing illegal migrants coming to Italy. Now we are talking mainly about how to stop illegal migration, work with the countries of origin and transit, and to return people. The European Commission just did the new rules about repatriations and things like that. So things are changing, thanks also to the example that Italy brought in lowering the rates of illegal migration. So we are working now together. So I'm optimistic on that.
Good. I hope so. Go ahead, please. Go ahead.
I'd like to ask President Meloni if you have discussed the option of starting to deal with Italy on telecommunications, and President Trump, if you want to see the Google company.
The Google what?
The Google company.
What about
the
it?
Google business. If you want to see it now.
Go ahead, please.
Oh, well, we didn't discuss about Starlink. We've been discussing about defense space. We will work together also in the Mars missions. So there are big things to do together, but we didn't discuss it.
No, tariffs are making us rich. We were losing a lot of money under Biden, trillions of dollars, trillions on trade. And now that whole tide has turned. We're making a lot of money. We're taking in a lot of money. Don't forget, we're taking in 25% on cars, 25% on steel, 25% on aluminum, 10% baseline. We put penalties on China for sending us fentanyl. We put penalties on Mexico and Canada, 25% for allowing fentanyl and allowing the borders to be weak. Now we're taking in billions and billions of dollars while I sit here and talk to you. And we didn't take in anything before, other than the tariffs that I put on previous to Biden, which were the tariffs I put on China, where we took in, up until this point, probably $700 billion. They were Trump tariffs. He tried to weaken them. He did everything he could. You know, he got paid money by China, right? The family got paid money. He did. And so I don't know, maybe that was the reason, or maybe it wasn't. But he tried to weaken them, but he couldn't, because there was so much money that his budgets, you know, they couldn't stand not doing it. But I took in up till this point, my tariffs on China. Nobody ever took in 10 cents from China. No other president took in 10 cents. I took in more than $700 billion from China. So we're doing very well. I mean, our country's doing very well. They had a bad report today from one of the healthcare companies that had an impact on the stock market. But this isn't about that. This is really, we're building a base. We're building a country like no other. And again, I had the strongest economy in the history of our country by far, history of any country probably, but the history of our country in 4 years. And I think this has a chance to be much better.
Can you just clarify on the mineral deal? Will that be signed here at the White House with Ukraine on Thursday?
I don't know exactly. I'm going to leave that to Scott. What do you think? Where would it be signed and when?
We're still working on the details. We're shooting for around April 26th.
Is there any more detail that you could tell us about what's in that deal and how it came together?
It's substantially what we agreed on previously. When the president was here, we had a memorandum of understanding. We went straight to the big deal, and I think it's an 80-page agreement, and that's what will be signed.
President Trump, on rate cuts, can you clarify on rate cuts? Do you intend to seek Congress if he doesn't change the stance on rate cuts, or is that on the table, or is it on?
Well, I think he should do the rate cuts, because I think if Europe has done it, it puts us at a disadvantage to Europe. I mean, he plays right into their hands. So I think he should do the rate cuts. We don't have really inflation now. I just said the major things are going down. Oil is great. Oil is way ahead of schedule, and that's because of our policies. But oil is down into the $60, $65 range now per barrel. And I told you, in certain states we have less than $2 for gasoline. And food is down. Groceries, as we call it, are down. Other than interest rates, everything's down. Interest rates are pretty flat. It's not that they're up, but we should be better than flat. We should, if he would lower the interest rate, I think it would have a good impact on that too. But the costs are down. We have very little inflation. I would say we have essentially no inflation. Hard to have inflation when oil goes down, and oil goes down. When Biden came in, oil went through the roof. That's what caused our problem. That and his very dumb spending. But when the oil prices go down, and they have gone down a lot, we've gotten it down really good. We've opened it up and we've gotten them down. And that means that people driving cars are going to be paying $2 and $2.50 instead of $4.50. And, you know, even at the end, they tried just for the purpose of the election to get it down. But they had really lost that sucker. That was really, it was not good. But if they had won, oil right now would be at $7 or $8 because of their policy. And we're going to be at about $2. Could be even a little bit less than that. And you're starting to see it. So I don't know how you can have inflation when oil has come down quite a bit. And I would say the Fed really owes it to the American people to get interest rates down. That's the only thing he's good for. And he would have an effect on that if he lowered them. And I think at some point he will. He's going to have a lot of political pressure. You know, they are political also. And I think there's a lot of political pressure for him to lower interest rates. Okay? Yeah, go ahead. Please.
Do you think that Italy can be your best ally in Europe? And also, do you ever notice when you walk with your opponents?
Only if the Prime Minister remains the Prime Minister can it be our best. she's doing a great job. And yeah, certainly one of our great allies, not just in Europe, anywhere. She's a fantastic person and doing a great job. And our relationship is great. And we have a lot of Italians in this country, I tell you, and they like Trump, and they voted for Trump. Anyway, thank you very much, everybody. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Well, today, what one judge has called the lawlessness of Donald Trump and his staff was made vivid once again in
That's enough of that for now. On that note, I'm actually going to pass out for now. Y'all take it easy, folks.
two